Hey there gamers, this is JamesBl0nde from Onrpg.com, and I'm back, bringing you yet another game review.
Let's get this show on the road.
This time I'm taking a look at a game called World of Tanks. And I'm just going to start off by saying that I don't know anything about tanks, except for the obvious fact that they're 5+ tons of rolling awesome, which I think is one reason this game turned out fun and addicting.
Ready to fire.
The first thing I notice when you start up the game is that it takes you to the garage where you choose your tank. There's no intros, no cinematics, or anything, which I'm fine with. I guess the developers aren't messing around here. The graphics in the game are second to none. Very detailed textures accompanying smooth moving mechanisms on each tank. From the tracks to the exhaust to the barrel, everything has a clean range of motion. One really cool attribute of the game is how realistic it is. This is a nice change from the games with the tanks, with the poor driving physics and nearly fully automatic guns. And maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that all of the tanks in the games are real tanks from like World War I and World War II time frame. The military jargon about the weapons on the tanks seems to be accurate as well. So if you're the military history type, then this might be the game you need to check out. But anyway, moving on. The game gives you 3 intro takes to start out with, which are very slow and weak, but differ from one another nonetheless.
Time to roll out.
I wouldn't recommend trying to sell them because right now they're worth nothing unless you start upgrading them. As you gain experience and silver from the battles you win, or lose, you can later purchase bigger and badder tanks, plus tank upgrades. Consumables, things like that. There's like binoculars and camouflage tarps you can put over your tank. And there has to be at least 80 tanks to choose from. You can choose from light, medium, and heavy tanks, as well as tank destroyers and SPGs, which apparently stands for self-propelled guns. I didn't know that. You can also select from German, Russian, or tanks from the US. Now, each tank is unique in its own way, sort of like each military class in Call of Duty. The light, medium, and heavy tanks are pretty self-explanatory. You know, heavier armor, bigger guns. The bigger, heavier tanks may or may not be any slower, but this you can change with a few engine or track upgrades.
Heavy armor is hit. We've hit them hard.
The tank destroyers are artillery tanks that can project aerial rounds toward your enemy, like a mortar. Tank destroyers are pretty weak armored, but pack a huge punch, as do the SPGs. Each tank, according to the gun you've mounted, has up to 3 different types of ammunition you can use, such as more armor-piercing rounds, or even explosive rounds. Some of the different ammo you have to purchase with gold, which I believe the only way you can get is through the cash shop online. In this game, teamwork is a must. If you want to win, you've got to work together. The gameplay is set up as the first team to kill all of the other team's tanks or capture their base wins the match.
Target lost.
It seems early in the game, there are at least 6 or 7 different maps you can choose from. Well, you don't really get to choose from them, the game does that for you, which is neat because it keeps it kind of interesting and fresh. The game also chooses what side of the map you start off on. The maps in the game are fairly large, with many different routes to take. I must have played 50 different battles and still found new places to hide. It's also fun while you're in battle to run over things in the environment like cars and trees. Oh, and don't worry about brick walls, you're a freaking tank. However, any incline, about 30 degrees it seems, will get you stuck and waiting for death. Watch out. In addition to the tons of different paths you can choose in the open world style maps, there are lots of different types of cover to hide behind, like buildings, rocks, fences, hills, or already demolished tanks. My favorite thing to do is to hide in these huge bushes that you find in each one of the maps. Close to some sort of cover, of course. You have to have something solid to hide behind, because trust me, fences and shrubs won't cut it. This game is real, people. The driving physics in the game are easy. Basic controls are WASD for movement, and your turret is controlled by your mouse. R is used to auto-run, but I never found this useful. Once you've found an enemy, you can zoom in with the scroll wheel, right-click lock on, and left-click fire. Your zoomed is based on your particular tank's turret, which is yet another thing you can upgrade. And the farther the shot is, the less accurate the gun gets. Each tank so far has the same set of crosshairs, so it's nothing you have to get used to over and over again. The tank destroyer is the only one that's slightly different. It's got an aerial style view it switches to when you hit shift, which for the other tanks is a quick zoom key.
They're hit.
When you're in gameplay, you're set up against all the different varieties of tanks. There are usually 15 players on each team. Depending on your tank, you can take a decent amount of damage, but there are some enemy tanks that will send you packing in one shot.
Permission to engage. Critical hit. They're out. We're finished.
If, however, you are killed early in battle, which will happen early in the game, trust me, you can leave the battle and go back to the garage to start a new battle with one of your other tanks. Remember, you start off with 3. And once that first game is done, then you can use that tank again. This is extremely handy. In the garage, you can repair your tank, research new weapons or parts, or you can research new tanks after upgrading certain tech trees on your existing tanks. This game is set up so just about anybody can play. It's not confusing in any way, and it's repetitive so the learning curve is short. World of Tanks is a game of many genres. Action, first-person shooter, RTS, yet it's still, I believe, a successful MMO. Even though this game has the basic fundamentals of an MMO, World of Tanks is capable of delivering that instant gratification to those who want to play a quick game 20 minutes before work, and still be a blast for those who will continue to play the game for a long time. There are plenty of tanks to test drive.
Permission to engage. Critical hit. Where'd they go?
Well, that about wraps it up. Overall, I really enjoyed this game, and you should too, especially if you like military history and tanks. For more information about World of Tanks or any other free-to-play games, be sure to check out onrpg.com, hit that like button, and subscribe. I'm JamesBl0nde. See you out there, gamers.